Hey there, my name is McKenna and I want to show you my sketchbook today. So this guy I stayed really consistent with drawing a lot more than I have been. In the last few years, art has always come and gone for me and always finds its way back one way or the other. I wrote here, it is whatever I want it to be. I can let myself be free and unhinged. Made an inside joke with myself that the most absurd thing I could draw was Naruto, and it's really not that absurd, but I don't know. Let's see here. I drew Gandalf by memory. I think my boyfriend Morgan asked me to do that. We were watching Lord of the Rings, and so I wanted to draw a cute little elf lady and just doing some head studies. And I found these Tombow brush markers. And I hadn't even opened the box, but I had them for a while. So I was giving them a try, and they're really cool. They're water soluble, so you can use water and blend them, which is really cool. So I was doing a figure study here with them, and just using the blender that comes with it. And I used Croquis Cafe, a really good resource for figure studies. Just some doodling. So I decided to purchase some Tombow pens that were skin tone, and so I was playing around with those and seeing how they work. And this was kind of a failed experiment to add paint with the Tombow brush markers, and kind of looks funny, but it was an experiment. This one looks kind of okay, but skin on this guy is a little funky. So this was at a live show where my boyfriend and my friend were playing, and this is his Fishman amp, and I drew my foot. Here I was doing an Ayami Kojima face study of exactly how she paints faces. I was just using some watercolor to get down in just a few layers, more of like shading, anatomy, just kind of observing. This was kind of a silly redraw. I don't really like it. I feel like the anatomy is a bit off, and I was definitely out of practice. But yeah, it was a character I made in 2003 named Kalika. It was pretty interesting. So I was testing some pens here. Drew a dude with short hair. Yeah, I always draw guys with long hair and girls too, but I just short hair. Here were some face studies that I was just doing by memory, and just really working on anatomy in this one, just because I feel a bit rusty, so I'm trying to get back into it. So I was doing more of the Croquis Cafe figure studies. This one was just by memory. And yeah, that was a redraw that was kind of a failed attempt. I don't really like it. And this is when I started adding water to the Tombow pens, and I don't know. There's all sorts of things that look funny with it. So whatever. Some more figure studies. All these, I think I was just drawn with that reference. And the skin study, which I actually kind of liked how it came out, was using cool tones and warm tones together, and kind of made this cool layering effect. I think I used the brush pens with acrylic paint, just some white glaze over it. This guy right here, so my boyfriend, he carves these really cool wizards. Let's see, I think I got one here. I was in a pot, so there's some dirt on it, but so it's kind of a cool wizard, and I just got dirt everywhere. Oh no. Okay, so this one was another skin study that I really liked. Just like the warmth around the edges look really nice to me. And this was a Croquis Cafe video that the figure was turning around, and I just paused it every couple seconds, and I just drew her at every angle. I thought that was kind of cool, and I picked a pose, and I did a skin study of her, kind of with that same technique I was doing before. This one was a terribly overworked piece that I got a little bit too tipsy on wine while I was working on it, so it just got super overworked, and I gave up because, I don't know, it's pretty bad. And we were traveling, so we went to the St. Helena Cathedral in Montana, and there was these stained glass pieces of artwork of just religious scenes, and the scenes were really well done, and so I took some reference photos, and so this was one of the faces. And this one here was a collaboration between me and a friend where he makes cigar box guitars, and so I was designing 3 of his necks, and he actually hasn't even finished making these yet, but I painted the necks for him. And this is fireweed, which is a really cool flower in Montana and all around the Midwest. And it's such a cool flower because it is the first plant usually to bloom after a forest fire. So it's like this really pretty reddish purple flower that just comes up from the ashes of fire. It's very symbolic to me. I really enjoyed seeing these. It was so nice. So I started working on a sticker design for a coffee shop, Wasatch Roasting Company, and thought it would be neat to do like a coffee plant and a bee. So I chose a honey bee with a coffee plant, and I actually had a honey bee fly on my hand and just kind of chilled there for a little while, and I thought it was really special because he was just using my hand as a little resting point for a while. And so this was the finished painting that I did for it, and then these 2 stickers, this was the first batch. I did 50 of each, and so I did the circle design, and then the second batch I decided to do this die cut style, which I think looks really nice. It kind of blew it up a little bit more and you can see it better. And so yeah, the anatomy is kind of funky on it, and I don't know, I kind of pinpoint things I can see to do better, but I think that's the point of growing as an artist, you know? Some random face drawings. We were camping, so I was drawing some textures in nature and just doodling. And this one, we were around a campfire and I was working on it and it started raining. So I just embraced the process and used the water to an effect that looks like this. It's kind of a funny experiment. This is like a self-portrait of me and my kitty Shadow. She was staying with a friend while we were traveling over the summer, and we were really excited to come back and get her back. This right here, I did as sort of a plan I wanted to do for Inktober, but in a way that was sort of my own, not really following any prompt or anything like that. And so I thought it'd be fun to do some Castlevania artwork, one of my most favorite games, and there's so many different games in the whole series, so I thought it'd be fun to do my favorite characters and kind of make a poster in the end. And I really wanted to do 9, but I ended up only finishing 5, and I was just kind of planning out like how big they were going to be. So the first one I did was Leon Belmont from Lament of Innocence, and so I planned everything out on this side of the page and just kind of figured out what I wanted to do. And I used myself, I took a video of myself and kind of moving poses, and that's how I found the poses that I did for the characters. So there's that one. This one was Alucard from Symphony of the Night. He's by far one of the most popular Castlevania characters, definitely one of my favorites. And it's Maria Renard. She's from Symphony of the Night. Yeah, that's sort of her design from that game. I think she's in another, like Dracula X, I can't remember. And then Hector, and I I messed up on his face, and so I was kind of going in and trying to fix it, and then I obviously fixed it digitally. But in the sketch it looks kind of weird, and then in this one I definitely messed up. I didn't want to redo the whole thing, so I just kind of I actually even changed his face digitally too because it looked pretty bad. So this one, Sypha, she didn't get finished. I was kind of getting burned out on this, and it was reaching the end of the month, and my priorities kind of shifted because of this. Me and my family lost my mom unexpectedly. She passed away during open heart surgery, and your priorities change quite a bit when something like that happens. So I shifted my focus on doing this large painting of her, and I wanted to portray her in her garden where she spent so much time and energy. But she symbolically is growing in her garden and continues the cycle of life. And yeah, that's, I suppose, how I dealt with it, was put my energy into working on the funeral and projects. And me and my dad also designed this amazing memorial park bench for her graveside, and so I came up with this design for my dad. He wanted me to create a sort of logo that would be engraved in the stone, and it represents his heritage, sort of like Irish Scottish, and we're also part Cherokee as well. So it's kind of a fusion of our heritage, and I made a little sticker version of that there. I took this on Photoshop, and I made it a lot cleaner too. So at this point I was trying to consistently draw almost every day, which was really awesome. I definitely kept it up, not perfectly, but I did a pretty good job. So I was just doodling, and that was kind of an idea that came to mind. And this is like an original character I made up years ago. His name's Lyre, spelled Lyre, like the instrument. And I'm sure I'll talk a lot about him because he kind of keeps returning for me. So I was doodling some faces, and I was listening to Interview with a Vampire on audio, and so I was drawing Louis and Lestat. This here is just a drawing of my plants in my sunroom. I have so many plants, too many. This right here, I was testing out, I actually have them here, these neon acrylic art inks. And I haven't really used them all that much, but they're so bright and fun. Shadow! That's my cat. Here's Bad Cat. He's funny. So this was the beginning of 2021, and I was just free writing, and it's kind of me determined. Anybody. So I condensed my goals here. Tangible steps: draw more often, practice from life, reference and imagination, find inspiration, movies, audiobooks, walks, artist dates, museum, fill the fountain, or fill the well, I suppose. Play, be a kid, and have projects. So, come here. Here's my cat. And that's Shadow right there. So this one, I did Alucard from Castlevania, playing a PRS guitar that I own, also that I named Alucard because it has like a black and gold scheme, and I thought it would be kind of a fun idea to to kind of do a portrait of him playing my guitar that he's named of. And so I did some stickers and just kind of testing some paper, and yeah. So here I got some Winsor Newton brush markers, and that's what they look like here. Let's see. Oh, they're so stuck. So Winsor Newton, they're like the skin tone set, and I really liked them, but I found that they bleed. Like if you paint over the ink, they bleed a lot more than Ohuhu or Copics do, which is kind of a bummer. I mean, they're really nice, but I was just kind of playing around with them. And that's Morgan playing his guitar and some doodles. And I was cleaning out some of my art supplies, so I was testing some that were going dead and throwing them out. And this one, so Liar, the character I talked about before, he kind of has this ability to manipulate his molecules into other living forms. So like he can turn into a tree or that kind of thing. He has kind of like an ability to just recycle his body throughout forms of life. And so I kind of drew him as a monarch butterfly, and I ended up doing a fuller, bigger version of him, which turned out pretty lovely. I'm pretty stoked about that. I think the monarch butterflies were on my mind for a while there, and they seem very significant and symbolic to me. So yeah, so a little bit of meaning. And I was just doing some planning, and this was when I was listening to the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. Allison and Alex Gray, they were doing a New Year's ceremony. It was like a virtual event kind of thing, and while I was listening to it, I was just doodling. And there's another Liar drawing. And I was doing some face studies here, and some more figure studies through Croquis Cafe, and just more doodling. Here's some more of my plants, and here's some leftover paint that I just kind of smeared on here, and I don't know. So this is my dad's cat named Rusty. He's this orange tabby. He's so cute, and he's big. When we got him, he was only 7 months old, but he was like already the size of a normal cat. And now, like, he's about a year old, and he's just huge. I think he's still growing, too. This is when I got these pastel Ohuhu markers. They are so cool. They're so pretty. I've been having a lot of fun with them. But, yeah. While I was doing this one, I had a graphite drawing, and I was coloring on top of it, and it smeared the graphite, so it made it, like, really muddy. But lesson learned, you know. More figure studies. And some skeletons. This was a Liar drawing that I did trying to remember my original character concept of him. Just from memory, and and practicing with those Ohuhu pastels. And doodling. I think we were camping while I was drawing this too. And there's my Wolfie. There's a silhouette of Rusty. This is Luna playing a ukulele. So my ukulele is a Luna brand, Luna Guitars, and so I thought it would be fun to do the human form of Luna from Sailor Moon as playing the Luna ukulele, kind of the same concept of the Alucard playing the PRS. And I made some stickers of this one too. And some leg studies. Here's Rusty. And then here's Liar as like a character redraw from a sketch that I had done many years ago. And Shadow's still going. Hi. And I love this, especially with like the pastels. I was pretty happy when I did this. Yeah. This was another fun character redraw of a character Vane, spelled Vayne, sort of more of a villain, I suppose. And here's Liar and here's Vane again. And I did this while I was selling some prints at a local market. And this was like a rough draft for a sign that I made for it. My prints. And once again, here's Liar and Dragonfly. And I think this printed out on accident, so I just stuck it in here because I feel like the inkjet printer, it makes it all pixelated, and it's kind of fun. So I was using some brush pens. I think it was these two that I was using. The Pentel brush pen, and this is the Tombow. These are a lot of fun. Yeah. So I wanted to do a drawing. Well, it actually turned into a painting of the scene where me and Morgan went snowshoeing. And so I kind of came up with this concept of my character Liar in this snowyscape, and he has plants kind of growing out of him. And so these were kind of like my first initial sketches for that. Here's a man playing Age of Empires. One of Morgan, my boyfriend's favorite thing to do. Yep. And this last one here is just a quick concept sketch of a friend's mailbox that she wanted me to do some artwork on, and she's a big cat person, and so I did like this cat that's on a hillside. And I think these are Copics. I had just gotten the skin tone Copic, so I was testing them out, and then by then I got a new sketchbook, so I was starting to use that one. But yeah, there it is. If you liked my artwork and you want to see more of it, you can check out my Instagram, just artist McKenna Powell. And yeah, thanks so much for watching.